After getting their doors blown off in week 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers needed to get right. How about a rivalry game in primetime Monday Night Football? That's what they got. And what else did they get? A dub, 26-22. They get the win over the Cleveland Browns in what was, for a lot of the game, an ugly back and forth affair. Chris Carter joins me from the stadium in Pittsburgh. And Chris, I would say what went better for the Steelers in this game compared to week 1, but the answer is everything. So what was most improved that made the difference in this game against a Cleveland Browns defense that so far looks like a really good group?
I mean, that's the thing. Kenny Pickett throwing that 71-yard touchdown pass to George Pickens in a week where they're missing Deontay Johnson. They lost Gunnar Olszewski early in the game. They were really down to about 3 wideouts who they practice with normally in the offense. And the fact that they got a touchdown out of that was very impressive. George Pickens showing he can be the guy when he's called upon. But there's no doubt, Peter, the game changer of this game was T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. Both get a sack. Both make big plays, and both have touchdowns in this game. Alex Highsmith getting a pick 6, also forcing a fumble that T.J. Watt would recover and score a touchdown. The two of them get 14 points in this game. Meanwhile, on the other side, T.J. Watt getting his job. Myles Garrett only 1 tackle in the game. There's a lot of talk about how production and all pressures is more important than production. I don't know what a better game to highlight how much of a game wrecker T.J. Watt is and how Alex Highsmith also is being slept on for how much he can impact games.
Yeah, T.J. Watt becomes the Pittsburgh Steelers' all-time leading sack leader, which seems crazy considering he's not even 30 years old.
Right.
That said, this defense, Chris, has been the calling card for the Steelers team basically from time immemorial. And yet 198 yards on 35 carries against them on Monday night. And that's in a game where Nick Chubb goes down with a scary leg injury. Obviously, our thoughts go out to him. That was one of the more brutal injuries you are ever going to see on a football field. What can they do to get this run defense back to where we would expect it from a Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh Steelers defense?
It's what adjustment I've been calling for personally. Montravius Adams, a former Packer, was on the field. He's been there, started at the nose, and he was just getting whooped. In the second half, they put in Keanu Benton, the rookie they drafted out of Wisconsin, and he looked much better. And that helped them stuff the run a lot better in the second half, but also some sloppiness on their parts. Levi Wallace having an all-time terrible game. He was the guy that gave up the edge on that 70-yard run. He gave up the edge on the McCaffrey 65-yard touchdown last week, and he was getting picked on in this game by Deshaun Watson in the times they were able to find success. He was a big problem there. Also, you can see the impact of not having Cam Hayward, and honestly, the Steelers defense deserves credit because they lost Minkah Fitzpatrick early in the third quarter in this game, and I thought that was going to be it for this defense. But still, they find a way to win with their other stars in the field despite missing 2 of their best players on the team and arguably 2 of the best players at the position in the NFL. Still, they have a lot to work on. They talked about needing to clean up, but like I said going into this game, the key was going to be could their edge rushers make more plays than Cleveland's edge rushers, and they absolutely did.
So where does this team stand now after 2 weeks? They get this critical win against the Browns team that is loaded with talent, albeit amid a ton of injuries. Pittsburgh dealing with injuries of their own, but we saw in week 1 a game they'd like to forget. So how do we balance that right now with this Pittsburgh team?
I think this is still a team that has a lot to clean up right now. They're sloppy on a lot of things, and they even admitted that as much after the game. Kenny Pickett saying, hey, we executed some things, but we got a lot to clean up. The defense also acknowledging, yes, they made a lot of plays, but they want to be more stout against the run. Granted, they probably just faced 2 of the better rushing threats in the NFL in the Niners and the Browns. Next up, they got the Raiders and the Texans. They can't afford to go to sleep on these guys. They've got to be able to clean some things up on offense, be more consistent, convert more on third down. They were not happy with their third down production today, but I do think that they're seeing improvement. Now they just got to keep taking those steps forward, and they'll be a better team. I don't think the Steelers are a really good team right now. I think they're a pretty average team, but they have the talent to be better, especially with the youth on their roster. That's going to be the key. Can the roster, can the young guys like Kenny Pickett, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, and Joey Porter Jr., who had great coverage on that 4th down pass at the end of the game, the rookie coming in big, can guys like that step up and keep making this roster better? That could be the story of the 2023 Steelers.